always, it is mid-March already. I think tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day. I saw a bunch of people dressed up in green all over the place this weekend. That kind of caught me off guard. There's some
Same.
holidays that are funny, but that's not affecting any news or market conditions. So super excited. All right, cool. So yeah, we should be officially streaming now. I see Kobe in the chat already. Kobe always showing love. What's up, bro? All right, all right, all right. We flooding it up. Mauricio, Mr. Vargas, what's up? Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, guys. So first and foremost, appreciate everybody who is here, ready to go on time for another edition of Weekly Market Outlook. I got my man, the GOAT, Mr. Brent Badal in the building. As you guys know, we always kick things off with the fundamentals, the news, everything like that for the week. So I'm going to allow Brent to kick us off with that and intro himself. Let me make sure I make you co-host here, bro.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
We
All right,
are
all right, all right. Talk to us, bro. How you feeling, man?
feeling good. Another extremely abundant week in the market. I know I hit over a little bit over 8,000 pips. I know you, Rich, called some banger trade alerts too. So we definitely had some massive movement in the charts. Congratulations on everybody that were able to catch some of that. If you did, make sure you drop some dollar signs in the chat. We had some amazing sessions. We had some amazing trades. It was just a great week, right? And we spoke about it last week. We were going to have a lot of news, and it played itself perfectly, right? CPI, I went live on TikTok, crashed it 100%. We made over 300 pips. Easy. PPI, next day on TikTok, the exact same thing. Back-to-back news, just loved it 100%. Friday called the trade alert, almost activated, but still a ton of you got in, so that's the beautiful part. So as you guys know, we're winning here. Obviously, passes some promise future. We got some of that, but hey, it is what it is. We don't say it. The community says it. The chat says it. The payout says it. So hey, we are definitely good and we're happy. And I'm gonna go over the news this week as well, so we can talk about what's gonna happen with the news and be prepped for it. Be ready to have another abundant week. So to start off right now, again, mainly the news that you're going to see us focus on right now is going to be for NAS, because Rich and I, well, you guys have said that we're the NAS bros. We didn't say nothing. You guys have put the name that we're the NAS bros now because we trade NAS more than anything. Yes, Rich will sometimes touch some Forex pairs. Yes, sometimes I'll touch a little bit of gold. But the real big thing that we're doing here is NAS. So all the news is going to be revolving NAS more than anything. Now, tomorrow, Monday, right away, we have news. 7:30, perfect time. It's Central Standard Time. As you guys know, 7:30, the market likes to move for NAS and gold. So perfect time to have news. Core retail sales, Empire State Manufacturing, beautiful. Business inventories at 9, another good time. So right off the bat, Monday, we're having some good news at a good time for sure. Tuesday. Tuesday, we run into some news as well. Building permits, housing permits, nothing crazy there in the morning, but it is important just to see where the housing market is. Interest rates are already dropping. A lot of the consumer side of things is dropping overall. We're seeing the cost of oil drop significantly. Eggs, I just bought some eggs today and I was like, damn, wait, is that price right? So already everything's dropping. So we're seeing that in the housing market as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see the numbers tomorrow. Tuesday, nothing crazy to trade, but it's just important to see where numbers are for that. So Tuesday, it's kind of our chill day, really. I think it's mainly the only chill day of the week. Wednesday, catch me on TikTok. I'm telling you right now already. Wednesday, 1 o'clock, I'll be trading news. We have federal fund rates, FOMC economic projections, FOMC statement. I love trading this type of news, especially with the federal fund rates right now. It's going to be really interesting to see with everything that Doge is doing and all this money. You guys already know all that mess that's happening. It's going to be really interesting to see this. So I will definitely be trading that 1 o'clock. Then we have FOMC press conference right after. We have some JPY news. It's nothing that really affects the GNAS, but Wednesday's going to be a very heavy day. Super excited to trade Wednesday for sure. Thursday, again, lots of red news, but for the US, we're kind of okay. So for the US, the only one that I'm happy for is unemployment claims. We know that that's moved a lot. We know that that's always a red folder now. Happens at 7:30. I don't know if I'll be trading that or not. I might just wait for my session at 8, but it's going to be important to see that. And at 9, we have existing home sales. and we have the CB leading index. So a lot of news that we're seeing on Thursday, not that much to trade heavy at that time, but the data that's going to come out of it is going to be really important for when we look at just overall. If you're living here in the States, then this is great news for you to follow through. And if you're not, you still want to do investments. Maybe the dollar is heavy in your country as well. So Thursday is going to be a day that the market, I feel, will move a lot. More in a sense to move a lot to tell us like a good projection of where the rest of the month wants to go, maybe even the rest of the quarter. So it's really going to be interesting what Thursday does from the information that's released on Tuesday. So Wednesday, sorry, from Wednesday. And then Friday, we close out the week. Really no news, nothing to worry about there. Chill on Fridays. Keep in mind, though, that during the week, we still have Trump speaks. So we've been seeing a lot for the last 30 days with Trump that it's 2 o'clock right now, and next thing you know, I'm here on Forex Factory, it'll say 4 o'clock, Trump speaks. Like it comes out of nowhere. It's not always planned, projected days before, and it's making the market move in really good ways. So just keep in mind right now that still what you should do, which I've said this all the time in your trading plans. Rich and I made an amazing trading plan for you guys. You plan your day, right? So even a day before, the day after, you're just planning your day to say, hey, today there's news at 7:30. Okay, I'm gonna be ready for it. And still once or twice a day, I would recommend you, which is what I'm doing, jump into Forex Factory and just check, make sure there's any updates. Because if there is some updates, you want to make sure that you don't slip into a trade that you don't want to be in at that time of the market. But I'm happy. This week looks great like last week. Again, I'm very excited for Wednesday. That's going to be the biggest day for me that I'm looking for. And then Thursday, it'll be very interesting to see the data that comes for that news. But Wednesday, I think, is really the strongest day. And it's cool that we're starting off tomorrow, Monday, with news at 7:30 because typically Mondays it's a little bit slow. A lot of times you don't see any trades from us, from Rich or myself. Obviously, Rich does go live on what time do you go live? I think it's like 10 o'clock in the morning Central Standard Time, I believe 10 o'clock Central Standard Time in Spanish. So Rich does have a live session on Mondays. You can catch him and he has been trading a little bit more. But Mondays are kind of a little bit slow. But with this, I think Monday we could start off at 7:30 right away, kind of paint a picture for the rest of the day. So we should be able to send some trade alerts, trade a little bit on Monday. But that is it for me right now for the news. We're going to go right into the charts. We'll talk a little bit about NAS and take it from there. So sending it right back to you, Rich.
Let's get it, bro. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and pull up some charts here, guys. Couple of different areas that really catch my attention for this week coming up. So first and foremost, if we start off on like a 4 hour / daily time frame and just kind of like zoom out for a bit here and just kind of get the grand scheme of things, there's a couple of different things that stand out to me. Number one, for those who are in Akashx, we talked about the significance of this daily fair value gap that we tapped into for NAS. We saw the willingness to reject from that fair value gap and finally bring some bullish pressure. It was dubbed as like the biggest day of 2025 as far as like the stock market rising in a single day. And yeah, I mean, it's no surprise again, once we, find ourselves grabbing all of this massive amount of liquidity that has kind of been built up over the last several months since October. At some point we got to hit the brakes, at least temporarily. So I'm not saying we're gonna just all-time highs from here, but at some point we have to pump the brakes a bit on sells. But I just don't think we're quite done with sells overall. But at the end of the day, we got to kind of take things on an intraday basis once we actually start executing our positions, because I'm not swing trading, neither is Brent. So for the most part, we will be able to catch sells and buys depending on our other confluences. But a couple things. Number one, again, was that daily fair value gap that we tapped into and rejected from. Usually when you tap into a major fair value gap, there's really two scenarios. Number one is you get the reaction and that becomes a catalyst for a major turnaround to basically like start a new trend for a long time, maybe several days, maybe a week plus. Scenario two is you get a slight reaction that lasts a bit and then ends up failing. And so we have to keep an eye on that, especially I would say the first couple of days of the week, because again, we're going to kind of figure that part out pretty quickly. Now on the weekly, so I'm going like really high time frame to start us off first, okay? We've had 4 consecutive bearish weeks. And we had last week on Sunday we opened and literally crashed bearish the entire week, with Friday basically being that last little retracement day. So all in all, there is some like weekly fair value gap stuff that's right above the weekly open of last week. Ultimately, whenever we do decide to finally start turning around, we'll eventually come back into the fair value gap stuff that's, from when we started this massive sell-off back at like 20,700 plus. Or I'm sorry, 21,200. I don't know why I said that. 21,200 here. So at some point, that's like the long-term play. But for the week to start off right now, I think there's a chance that we just continue pushing bullish, tap into that weekly open, and then continue to the downside. It could really play out a couple of different ways. But basically, my buy targets from like a higher time frame will be kind of approaching last week's weekly open, which is around 20,170. And the bearish targets would be basically to start breaking new lows in this trend, tapping back into the fair value gap. So it really just depends, again, like how we see the other confluences that we use to find our intraday trades. Last couple Sundays we've seen some pretty aggressive openings, like like just massive movements to start off the week. So yeah, we gotta obviously like let the market develop itself. Every time I try to force a trade on Sundays, it doesn't really go in my favor. So I'm not gonna be pressing the issue on that. But the smaller time frames again have shifted bullish, at least temporarily. Again, tap into the fair value gap. Kind of looked like we were gonna start making our way to new lows. Didn't quite get that. Shifted above multiple highs, and now we kind of find ourselves here to end the week. So overall, like short term, it is very possible, again, because we've shifted structure on the smaller time frames, that we actually continue pushing to the upside and maybe getting to that weekly open. And then from there, just kind of seeing what's up. If we open maybe a little bit bullish and we start crashing pretty aggressively, then again the bearish targets would be basically making new lows below 19,100. So those are the two scenarios that I'm preparing myself for. But for now, again, like smaller time frames have kind of started to shift bullish. So as long as we keep that going, we'll be coming up to 20,200 maybe. So we'll see. But that's kind of where we're at in price, a very crucial area for either a complete reversal or maybe just a slight reaction that ends up kind of running out of gas and then correcting itself. So be keeping an eye on that. Other than that, because I'm going to pass it to Brent for his analysis. We talked about gold hitting 3,000 a while ago, maybe 2 Sundays ago. It was inevitable. I told you guys, even though we have like these big pullbacks and whatnot, like expect a recovery. 3,000 was just too much of a psychological whole number for us to ignore. Like the power of psychological whole numbers when it comes to massive investors, and like just the way that at the end of the day, markets move off psychology of the collective consciousness of people. 3,000 is too clean for us to not get there, So now that we're there, typically when you reach that psychological number and people like buy into that hype, we do tend to see like a retracement at minimum. So it's gonna be interesting to see how gold starts, but I would assume it kind of sits around, ends up filling in some of this fair value gap stuff going on around 29.50, 29.60. And then from there, I'm pretty sure we're gonna just continue to keep climbing. I don't think gold is gonna use this point to just massively crash to 2,000 now. I think overall, as long as these structure points are maintained, 28,080, 28,040, there's really no higher time frame reason why gold would be bearish long term just because we hit this point. So again, I would expect some pullbacks, but we have a very strong level of like 29.50 that we could potentially just continue bouncing off of. So that's it for gold. I just wanted to touch on that because I don't talk about it much, but it's a hot topic with history being made. So figured I'd give my little 2 cents on that. But yeah, that's it from me, bro. I want to see what you got.
Yes, sir. So for NAS, we'll start with NAS first. So NAS, when we go into the 1 minute time frame, let me zoom this because as you guys know, I live in the 1 minute time frame. We have the 29 The 19,630, as you guys know, was our bear target for the last 2 weeks. Hit it, great, loved it, crushed it. It went on to the next levels that we spoke about, Rich and I. It perfectly played out like pretty much every Sunday, like we say. So that was beautiful. But something that I was saying during my sessions in the week is once we came back to it to use 19,630 as a POC, point of control. Now, shout out to Luis Rodriguez, my mentor. He taught me how to trade volume, right? So there's a volume profile analysis. It's another way of trading, basically the same way how Rich does smart money concepts and there's stuff out there. There's ways where you trade volume, and volume just doesn't mean the little sticks in the bottom. No, there's more to it. And there's a lot of like areas inside volume that you can learn how to read volume in different ways. And point of control is really interesting. So point of control basically acts as a support and resistance, supply demand, but it's just a line and it'll play with it back and forth. So as we could see here, as it was going, it would use it as a support and then break down, use it as a resistance, then a support. So it's like if you follow that 19,630, every time you would have those big breakouts. Anytime it would get to that point, big break up to the top, break up to the bottom, break up to the top, break up to the bottom. Like it kept on using that as a supply and a demand almost at the same time. We're used to just saying, here's a supply, here's a demand, here's a support, here's a resistance. But point of control is basically both of them together combined. It's where there's a lot of orders were placed. The market continues to go back to it. It's just a track. Imagine this is like the end of one magnet and the market is the other one. Like it's going to find that each time and it's going to bounce either way. Doesn't mean it's going to always, don't use it as like an EMA. No, you just use it as a point of control. So with that said, I say that to say this. We could either hit this point of control, stay above it. It keeps on using it as a demand or as a support, right? And keep on going up, which we're very close to that psychological next number of 2918, all the way eventually to the 20,000, right? So that's like the big next number that we're looking at psychologically for NAS. Now, the other way, when in doubt, zoom out. So for me on NAS, I zoom out to the 15, I zoom out to the 30, right? So 15 shows me that we have a very interesting low previous demand, all that good stuff down here at this 1920, right? So if we break and use this POC, this 19,630 as a resistance or as a supply, well, then we'll come down crashing, take care of all of this, all that good stuff. And if you zoom out even more, you have even more tons of areas that I've been speaking about for the last like month, saying that when NAS drops, we have to take care of all of these. As you can see here, I keep on moving my little rectangle more and more. So I'm going to move it over here now because now we're into this week and I'll delete this last one. So I've been saying this because we had so many entries here and you could see all these entries. All of these are supply, demand, support, just areas of interest that Neo market needs to come down to. So this week, it's not really a situation of like, cool, this is where it's 100% going to go. It's going to be more of, cool, we know what we need to see. We know we need to see what happens at this 19,630. Will it demand off of it and go up? Great. We have all these other areas and targets we could go to. Will it break through it, resist it, works as a supply? Well, cool. We have all these areas. And ultimately, if it breaks 19, like that 19, if it breaks 19,200, that's a really important number for me. If it breaks 19,200 and it uses that, then we're just crashing. We're going all the way down. Like we're coming for all of these at this point. It's set up to crash perfectly fine, but I can't comfortably say, you know what? Bear week. Like last week, it was bear week all day. Get ready. And it was just beautiful. Right now, I can't really get there because I need to wait for one of those two things. I need to wait for one of those two things. For gold, we hit our target. We needed which we go, right? When in doubt, zoom out. I zoom out to the 30-minute on gold. So for gold, what were we looking at? We were looking to follow the trend, worked out perfectly. We were waiting it to support right here, worked out perfectly, continued up. I wanted to bounce off here. It came down to then bounce off here and come to that 3,000. So it played out what we wanted it to play out. Now, what is it going to do? Will it come down, take care of all of this, take care of the entire last week? Will it come down for it? Will it break this and continue dropping and then fulfill all of these orders? You can see all of these little yellow, pink, blue, yellow. These are all areas that it needs to touch. We've been saying that gold needs to drop forever. But the thing is right now, And I picture it this way. So this is how I see things, right? When I talk about the market and numbers, this is how my brain works. Back in the day, when I was in elementary school, I would go to elementary school with two $1 bills. I would eat ice cream. I would eat chips. I would eat my lunch. Two $1 bills. Can't do that anymore. Now you need a 20, right? So same thing when we look at these numbers. A year ago, 2 years ago, gold was at that 1200, 1700. That's where it was. The high was at that, right? Now we're at just a next level. So I really don't think that we should see gold tank. I think we're not like that new low for gold will be in that maybe that 27, like an actual true, like, oh damn, like it's low, start panicking. I don't think we'll really see it lower than that just because it has to go aligned with everything else, inflation, cost, everything. I mean, it makes no sense for the gold weight of value to drop back down to $100 when everything else costs way more, right? And it's just, it goes hand on hand. So for me, gold, I don't like falling in the smoke of news. I always say that if the news says it's supposed to drop, don't just sell, like don't fall for that news. But we've been seeing right now, just go outside, go to the grocery store right now, go to the gas station right now. You're starting to see everything drop. Therefore, the gold is gaining more power now. The dollar is gaining more power now. If interest rates, the CPI show that it dropped, so next should show that the interest rate on housing drops. If we see housing builders building more, new sales coming in more, so like if we see that side of things dropping, then for sure the dollar gets stronger. Therefore, gold needs to drop. So there's reason in real life, there's reason in the world why gold needs to drop. It's at a level where it hit that psychological 3,000. Now it could come down for a big tank to make sure it covers everything. Because the institutions are not going to want to leave somebody that bought right here. 28.79, you bought 28.79 right now, you're chilling. Nobody wants that. The institutions do not want to leave somebody that came in here and bought at 26. And it's not going to go to 4,000 without taking care of a little bit of those, hunting some stop losses, right? Institutions versus retail. So it needs to drop. It makes sense to drop. There's news that's going to help it drop. Dollar's getting stronger every single day. New the tariff situations, it's showing its picture. Everybody has their own opinion. We don't have political here, but it's starting to prove its point of what the tariffs are and how it's actually not hurting the average American like myself. Like it's not doing that. It's actually bringing down the cost of everything in that nature. It's not raising everything. So with that, the dollar should get powerful. Gold should drop. It makes perfect sense on the chart too. But here comes the buts, and then I'll end it, right? But we're at 29.84. 3,000 is a lot closer than 29, than 28. You know what I mean? It's so much closer for it to sneak its way back up, go to 3,006. So everybody could drop all time high, buy. And everybody starts buying here, and then it comes down crashing. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Just the way the market has been acting, I would not be surprised. Market opens, big push, new time all-time high to start off today, a new time all-time high today itself. Get everybody excited that gold's gonna just moon the whole entire week, and then it just tanks all the way down. Would not be surprised at that. But we shall see what happens. In the meantime, the cool thing is that Rich and I both, we scalp. So it's cool. Like it can go wherever it wants to go. We're gonna scalp, we're gonna catch our pips, we're gonna share it with you guys, and we are good. Lastly, before I pass it over back to you, Rich, we're getting close to our target, guys. We're back in that 26 for XLM. As you guys know, I'm waiting at that 18 cents to 20 cents mark to go ahead and buy XLM. We're getting there, guys. We are very close to it again. It did drop here last week to 22 is when I was super close to buy. I was very tempted to buy there. I waited. I need to follow my own rules. I said anywhere from 18 cents to 20 cents. It dropped to 22. It should continue to drop here, give us a little bit more of a tank. Good to go on that side. And I say I'm comfortable enough with that because Bitcoin took a big dump as well, and it should correct, and we're at a weak demand. It should come down crashing a little bit more. I still think Bitcoin, as Rich and I both said, still needs to come down into that 72, 74. I've told you guys for the longest in the chats, I always say, hey, just give me a call when it gets down to 64, because that's really what big area that I'm waiting for anyways. So if Bitcoin makes its way down to 64, definitely XLM is going to come down to 18 cents. And at that point, I'm coming in. I know, Rich, you're waiting for XRP at $1. I'm getting some XRP as well. I never did. I'm not part of the XRP army, but this is going to be the first time I actually buy XRP once it comes to $1 because now I understand a little bit more of it. I see what it's doing. And because of the combination of XLM and ADA, what it's doing, I'm happy with it. So I'm just saving my shekels here, saving my rupees on the side for when that happens to do what we got to do, my ruples. But till then, bro, that's it for me. What else do you got? You got anything else?
Yeah, we're in a climate to talk about crypto for sure, at least a little bit, before we dip up out of here. Um, Man, I don't know how the hell we used to do an hour so easily. I feel like now we do 25 minutes and we're like, all right, we're good. And I know you gotta go in like 20 minutes. So um definitely want to get into some last things here, guys. So let me share my screen. I posted like a cryptic message on my channels a little while ago when it came to cryptos, like major ones, about where I see ETH, XRP, and Solana. So first and foremost, an update on a couple of positions that people kind of know I've been in. So overall, like Peloton. So I've talked about Peloton in the past. It's been quite a while. I was blessed to get in at like an extremely low price of 350. So even now, I'm still double my position, like literally exactly double. I was up over triple at one point, basically here, and so obviously seeing that go down is not fun. I think the overall market is kind of influencing everything right now. And so, um, I think that's why we've had a slowdown in Peloton. I still am like, when I purchased this stock, like I was like all in or nothing with my target. I know that's kind of silly when I day trade. Like with day trading, we talk about taking partials. I talk about, um, just moving stop loss to break even, things like that. With this type of play, I'm just like in a position where until I see some like really crazy negative stuff for whatever reason, I wouldn't want to exit my position. At minimum, I gotta get this thing to $18 to grab liquidity from this $18 price point. So from 350 to 18, that's not bad. That's like over 5x, right? So like for me, that's like a pretty damn good profit zone. So even getting in, like let's say at $7, like if somebody were to be on the stream and say, you know what, I want to get in from 7 to 18, it's like not triple, but getting into the ballpark of tripling your money. I still have those targets like $52 plus 50 to 80, somewhere in that ballpark to fill in fair value gap stuff here. It just all really depends if they can survive the overall economy and just really do enough on the marketing and everything they got going on to really recover the price. I've told people time and time again, I'm not really looking to make all-time highs on Peloton. I just want to get a recovery where the company is basically a third of what it used to be. I think that's somewhat reasonable. And if I do that, then I'll 20x my money on that stock, and 20x is very, very nice in my book. So that's kind of an update with Peloton, but that's not crypto, so let's move on really quick from there. Bitcoin wise, um, we talked about for a while, like this 90 price point. I'm not gonna harp on that too much because we kind of talked about that last Sunday. Since then we've continued to move down into the 70s like I've been waiting for, but it hasn't been a clear like just melt down that the market is just like nonstop melting. It has not had that. It's had its little nice flow. I still think we're gonna come below 75. And again, from that 75 point is gonna be very interesting to see if we use that as a catalyst to come back up into the 90s. That's very, very possible. So for those who like to position trade it, I think that buys at around the 75 area is pretty solid, and you can probably catch some good moves with that. But that I want to talk about that because this like downtrend, not downtrend, but this like retracement that we've been having now ever since we basically pierced all-time highs is obviously affecting everything else as far as the altcoins and everything. I am absolutely taking a fat L right now, currently with ApeCoin and Filecoin. So Filecoin, super merked right now, and ApeCoin as well. So again, for me, did I expect that? You don't really expect to lose. If not, you wouldn't put money in, right? But I'm very prepared to completely lose everything. However, I'm not saying that that's gonna happen, but basically, like I'm in drawdown on those two coins, and I'm chilling. I already said from the beginning, whatever I put in there, it's gonna go to zero, or I'm gonna like 3x, 5x, whatever my money on this plate. So nothing's really changed. I'm still like, not uh crying about it or anything like that, but it's obviously not good. But overall, I still believe in where this project can eventually go. We just need the shifts to happen at the right time, and I'm willing to ride it out. So that's updates on those things. By the way, I didn't even really talk about Filecoin. I talked more about ApeCoin, but Filecoin is just something that I also was in from Armin, who's one of the educators for Akashx on crypto. So overall, like I think Filecoin even right now is basically at floor level. So I mean, sheesh, I kind of wish I was getting into Filecoin just like now personally. So that's why I'm bringing it up. Again, this is not a major crypto, but we've seen where it's been able to get to. So getting in at $2, even $7 where I got in at compared to where we could potentially get to again is why I'm chilling on that, even if it takes years. So I have parked money in certain plays with a certain risk, put a certain risk acceptance for those specific plays. Okay. So I full port these altcoins, like all or nothing, literally. Like that's what I do on these personally. Now, when it comes to Solana, ETH, and XRP, and I'll make this quick, this is where it's like more serious cryptos that have basically stood the test of time, and I truly believe we're gonna be able to see these things do well long term just because of the ecosystems and the name they've built for themselves in the industry. Again, I don't know in the long run whatever ends up happening to anything I invest in, so always take that with a grain of salt. But if I'm gonna believe in any cryptos, it's gonna be Sol, XRP, ETH, and Bitcoin. The majors are the majors for a reason. Now, I talked about in that quote unquote cryptic message or whatever about different prices that I want to see these three main coins of XRP, ETH, and Solana get to before I really like dump some more serious money into it. Don't get me wrong. These prices that we see right now, for example, let's start with Solana at 126. Like Marianne's all over this right now. Like, can we get Solana? And I'm like, we can get Solana. It's not bad to get Solana. I just think we're gonna get to $60 and below. I've seen fair value gaps in crypto and all markets, but especially in cryptos, like never fail me, bro. When I tell you that this pattern of massive spikes, like think about this, okay? This is not me just giving hypotheticals. This has already happened before. Solana at like 30, 40 bucks, get all the way to 260, and from 260 go to $11. So if you were in Solana from 40 to 260 and you got all the way to 11 and thought it was dead, silly you, it got to an all-time high of basically 300. Silly you also if you don't think that it can go from 300 to 60 now, because we've literally seen it happen before. So personally, I think Solana is great, and I would definitely like to get into that below $58, $60. Once we start tapping into these fair value gaps and massive retracement levels, I will more than happily get into that. Because from $60 to 300, not only are you getting a good like 5x, 6x flip, whatever, but you're in at a crazy price on what could be like a generational crypto that stays around for like long term, So that part, how far things can go, I don't ever talk about those things, but I do know where price has gone to and where it can get to, and where I'd want to really dump money in is when Solana is dead, Solana fell off, the world's over. That's when I want to dump money in there. That's what happened to Peloton. Peloton died. I got in. I was up triple. Now I'm up double. But that's the time to get in, guys. Literally just made a video about taking advantage of these seasons. Now I'm gonna super fast forward here. I don't want to take up too much time. I need to let Brent chip in here. But that's Solana, $60. Some people will call me crazy for thinking it's gonna get there.
bro.
Honestly, I just don't know why. Like, if the charts literally have shown us it's done it before.
You,
It's not like
you're
me
being,
predicting, it's literally technicals.
nah, you're being nice to him, bro. You're being nice to him. Put it in the
I'm
one
just
day.
saying,
Are you,
bro,
are you in the
like,
one day? Put it in the one day. Put it in the one day and look at $38. That's where I have it. So you're being nice.
38. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're being nice. I'm putting it at 38.
Yeah, look, 38. I have it there. Literally.
Like you're being
So that's what
nice.
I'm saying. 60, 38, like that area. So same thing for XRP. Same thing for XRP. Weekly fair value gap, where we had the massive rally happen last time around. We've seen it go crazy and completely crash. Go crazy, completely crash. Go crazy. What's next?
Mhm.
So when I cashed out at two something, people are like, oh, I'm like, bro, whatever, dude. Like, this thing has shown you what it's trying to do. So $1 XRP, $60 Solana, and ETH. I really think that ETH is gonna grab liquidity of all this right here, bro. I truly think ETH
Yeah.
is gonna go below 1,000.
Yeah.
And once it gets below 1,000, that's where I'd want to really grab ETH as well.
The
So that's
800.
why I said ETH 1,000, XRP $1, and Solana 60.
Yeah.
Those are my three main price points for the three majors. So I'll let Brent chip in here.
ETH around 800 will be nice for sure. Around that 800 mark. There's a lot of noise in that 800 mark for sure is really
Yeah.
nice for ETH. So yeah, I like that too. Solana, like I said, Solana's gonna definitely hit that 50 to $60. That's when it's gonna start making noise. That's where if we start seeing everybody get weak, and like you just said right now, Rich, it's dead, it's dead. It'll come down to 38, and then the men will come in and play. When the boys crash out around that 50, 60, it'll be time for the men to come in and do grown-up work, and we'll do that around that mark for sure. Again, we could have massive momentum right now because crypto, I mean, look what happened with the crypto summit, right? Like we saw Bitcoin just jump massively just because the crypto summit was announced. So that's what just it shows you right now that in the crypto game, the retail is strong. Like the
Yeah.
retail side of thing, the hype side of things, that's strong to where you might see that movement happen a little bit sooner than later, sooner than what the chart says because of that, right? But you still have whales, and the whales will still predominate for sure. Now, the biggest thing with that, like Sol, for me, I understand what it's for. So Solana is meant for gaming. Solana started off as a gaming crypto side of things, and it's always tried to get into the gaming side of things for Solana. Yes, they're adapted to do other things in this world, but they're by core, they're in the gaming industry. They want to bring crypto into the gaming industry. What's going to happen right now with the gaming industry right now? You're going to have,
Yo, Solana and GTA 6 or what's up, bro?
for sure.
Imagine.
But for before that, why is it dropping, right? If you think about it in world life, in real life, and what's happening. You have the PS5 coming out, the new one. Xbox announced that they're going to come up with a handheld, like to compete with RG and everything. Microsoft is bringing in, we're going to do a PC version of an Xbox where you'll be able to play Steam and stuff like that, right? Computers, all that stuff. You have new graphic cards coming out. So what happens? Where are these built? China. Tariffs. So if you think right now buying a new Xbox for 500 is a lot, wait until the next one comes out for 1,000. So that's gonna hurt the gaming industry at that point. Look at these games, bro. Used to buy a game back in the day, a brand new one for $30. Now what is it? 70? The basic?
Telling you, bro.
Like the other ones? It's like, bro, I'm buying digital game. Like you're not even giving me the hard copy, nothing. It's you're charging me full price, right? So with that, the gaming industry should drop, right? Because it's gonna be you're not gonna have as many people coming in, especially on the console side of things versus the PC side of things. Microsoft is always one step ahead. That's why the next Xbox that they're doing will be adaptable to where you'll be able to play Steam inside of the Xbox, right? They're doing a lot of adaptations because they know what's happening at that point. So you have to think about that. One stock, again, I'm not huge into stocks, but just think about these things, right? The car industry. Right now, for the next year, we're probably going to see the cars bump up a little bit, at least if it's any foreign car. I know I'm looking for my BMW. I already know I'm going to pay an extra 15,000, at least 20,000, at least for that BMW next year, right? And then 27, 28, we'll see a lot of them come in. Porsche already announced that they're coming over into the States to build and made in the US from scrap Porsches in 27 to 28. But in between them, what's going to happen? So what stock and what company bought thousands of cars, open real estate to put stuff in their cars in to sell? Carvana. And what happened with Carvana? Carvana's dead, right? Because the car industry crashed, this and that. They put a bunch of places. They're still literally by where we live here. They built a brand new one like 6 months ago. If the end of car industry is what's happening, because they already know they have thousands and thousands of cars all over the place that have been sitting for over a year. So they could massively bump up and say, hey, you know what? I know your new car is going to have a tariff of 20-25% more, but guess what? I have this car that's been sitting here for a year and a half. I'll give you a hell of a deal. So their sales should skyrocket. And plus, who likes, if somebody sells cars here, I'm sorry, guys, it's not a direct attack to you, but who has bought a brand new car and who likes to go to the dealership and buy a car? Nobody. It's just the experience is horrible. That's why we're in a day and age where everything wants to be Amazon, have it shipped to the house, this, that, like all that stuff, right? Like we don't want to go out and have to even go to a store. We just order it. We park outside in order to get packed in our own car. So buying cars will be a whole different thing. Carvana is sitting nice. Carvana should drop a little bit more, and Carvana could be a good stock for you to go. It's at 180 something dollars right now. At one point, it was around 400. That could be a good stock. Again, I haven't put much focus into it, but you just sit down and start thinking of those things and then go look at the chart. What does the chart tell you? Find a good entry point. Take that entry point. If you have money to risk, risk it. Risk is a reward. You want reward, you have to risk, right? But it's going to be a very interesting time right now for us to be able to stack up for sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. So let's make sure we keep on plugging in the skill set. Make sure you guys are tapping into Rich's session. You're tapping into my sessions. Take advantage of our trade alerts, all the good stuff. Learn the skill set. We love, love, love to see when you guys tag us on our Instagrams, in the chats. Hey, I took this trade. Thank you. I learned it from Liberty. I learned it from you, Brent, from Live. Like, we love to see that. Make sure you guys continue to do that. Tap into the mindset calls. That's super important. Every Monday on my YouTube, you'll catch that for sure. The Mindset Monday calls. Obviously, these calls, tap into them all the time. Rich, your session's still gonna run normal next week. I know you're leaving a little bit midweek, right? But
Yeah.
there's one session you might not run next week.
Yeah, so this week won't be affected by like a hair. So like I leave on a cruise on Thursday. So technically Thursday I'm flying from Houston to Miami, but I'll be in Miami to do my session on the laptop, no problem. So next week is when like not this week's that's starting now, but the following is when my schedule will be um I think yeah, I'm gonna basically move it to where the sessions will be more like in the afternoon. So it'll be like a real like educational week.
Yeah.
Um it's not gonna be like live trading or anything like that. So I'm gonna have like the official times and just update everybody on that like starting today, tomorrow. So that way we have a whole week of notice. But this week, business as usual,
Cool.
chilling. So
Regardless, make sure you guys are following us on Instagram too, so that way usually we announce stuff like that too. So you make sure you tap in. You don't miss out on any sessions. You don't miss out on any changes. Definitely for me, like I said, there's news. I know Wednesday I'm going to want to trade for sure. I announced that there for when I go live on TikTok to trade news. So I've been loving TikTok to trade news because there's only a 1 second delay. So all of my news now, like every news session that I have that I'm trading it on TikTok, and that's where you'll make sure you don't miss out on that. I post it on Instagram to make sure you don't miss it on TikTok too. But other than that, let's have a freaking amazing day. Abdullah, tap the trade. So it all depends on Trade Locker, brother. So Trade Locker had some updates today. They're finalizing their updates. If they're done on their end, then tap the trade will be back, right? Tap the trade works. It's just not working for Trade Locker. If you have MetaTrader, if you're outside of the US and you have MetaTrader, it's going to work. It's going to be fine, but it's not going to work on Trade Locker side of things. So waiting on that for sure. Wilmer, congratulations, brother, for sure. Buy crypto, Mason. So if you go to akashxlaunch.com, you can watch the last video of our onboarding. You watch a video by Armin that shows you how to buy crypto, and he shows a couple different spots. So we leave that to the professionals for sure on that end. Of course, crypto. Yep, yep, yep. Cool.
yeah, no, we didn't really check the chat much.
Ya me chequé a couple de días. En español, próximamente vendrá en español, así como sigue creciendo la comunidad en español, haremos más cosas en español, claramente. Germany, a group. Peter, congratulations, bro. You grew your account 2.5%. Love it, love it, love it. I think that's it.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Well, guys, we do appreciate y'all for tapping into the weekly market outlooks as always. Brent, thank you, bro, for being here. I know we had multiple calls that kind of like lined up today within Akashx. So me and Brent do like fully know that we're gonna continue to grow these market outlook size, like the amount of people in here. So the 300 people goal is still in place, and we're gonna continue to elevate that over time. So guys, over the next week, if you guys want to tap in next Sunday. Well, next Sunday, we're going to talk about that too, since I'm going to be in Europe, bro, about doing Sunday market outlook. So we'll talk about it. But yeah, other than that, you guys who are in the mentorship program with Akashx, just catch us on our sessions this week. And if you're not in Akashx yet, make sure that you tap in with Brent if you found out about it through him. If you found out about it through me, links in the description. If you found out about this because of a friend or somebody that's in Akashx, make sure you reach out to them to get started, because these free calls are literally just a taste of what we do day in and day out. So imagine what you can do by being a part of the team. So with that said,